Three wheels on my wagon, and I'm still rolling along.
You're listening to Ridecast, the podcast of the Widow Sons Ridings chapter. The opinions expressed in this episode do not represent those of the Widow Sons Masonic Biker Association UK and Ireland. You can find us on Facebook at Widow Sons-Ridings chapter, on Instagram at Widow Sons_Ridings chapter. Our website is ridings.wsmba.uk. You can look us up on YouTube by searching for the Ridecast channel. And if you want to contact us directly, email us on ridecast@hotmail.com. Right, that's the housekeeping taken care of. Kickstands up, on with the show. Hello, and welcome to Ridecast. We're on season 2, episode 4. Welcome back, everyone. We've been away for a while. We'll explain why in a minute. But first, let me introduce you to everyone. As you know, I'm your host, Yaka, and I have with me my co-host behind door number 1. It's the notorious Gremlin.
Good afternoon. Wonderful to be back. And who's behind door number 2?
Well, I was going to say behind door number 2, but he's actually in front of door number 1, stopping people from coming in with trainers on. True story. Anyway, Pigpen, how are you, buddy?
I'm very, very good. Thank you very much. Good to see you all again.
Have you ever done that? Stop people from getting in with trainers on?
Many times. Jeans,
Yeah.
no collars on shirts.
Yeah. Our Pigpen here used to be a doorman in a previous life. There you go. That's another story. We'll have to do a segment on that. Actually, I bet he's got some good stories, haven't you?
Yeah, our chapter enforcer.
yeah. Sergeant at Arms, dare we say it. No, we're not allowed to say that. Anyway, so we're back. We're back in the studio. I managed to drag these fellas, kicking and screaming, back into the studio to record another episode.
Hang on a second. We've been wanting to do this for months, but you keep turning us down, saying you're busy.
No, I
moving houses or something.
I did have a move.
Time.
I did have a move this summer. So you know what it's like. It's hard work.
And what did that take you? A weekend?
No, we've been doing all the decorating and knocking walls down, fitting kitchens, all that sort of stuff. So it's been pretty busy. And to be fair, you guys weren't exactly, banging on my door to do another episode. But anyway, we're back in the studio.
You moved and you haven't told us where you are.
I know.
So I guess
friends you are.
Brothers now. Come on. I guess we should go way back in time and start our news update from when was your installation, Gremlin? Because that's as far back as we're going.
May.
That's back in May, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the first item on the list. So do you want to tell us about your installation?
Yeah, for those who aren't Freemasons who are listening to this wonderful podcast, when we talk about installation, it's about becoming master of the lodge. And I had agreed to become, or I was asked to become master of Lascelles Lodge, number 4796 in Wetherby. Sometime last year, and I agreed to take on that role. And obviously when I had my accident in February, the word on the street was he's not going to do it. So anyway, it was I kicked a bit of a stink saying that I definitely wanted to do it, and I was installed as master in the second Monday of May, and I was in my wheelchair because some of you will remember I had my right leg amputated. So I became master, and there were about I think there was a good turnout, about 80 or 90 people there, brothers there to see me installed into the chair of King Solomon. And it was a wonderful occasion, quite moving, and yeah, it's fantastic.
You hadn't had your leg delivered at that point, your prosthetic limb, had you? So
no, I was fully wheelchair bound, and it was very good for part of my recovery as well, because suddenly you're in hospital. You're lying there, you're missing a leg, and your diary becomes very empty. Everybody starts cancelling things, so they assume I won't want to be doing anything. I'll be sat at home like a vegetable. And the answer is
no change there then.
Yeah, very good. So,
but there were, if I recall, we had a lot of Widow Sons there. We had a lot of Ridings chapter there, didn't we? I think we had about 18 of us there.
We did indeed, yes.
So that was a good night. Good night.
Yeah.
You did a real good job there under pressure, mate, considering what you've just been through, and all your ritual was spot on and pretty impressive.
Yes, I know, it was great, and both of you were there, so it was fantastic.
Good. Meal was good as well, wasn't it?
Good evening. Good evening, was that?
Yeah.
It was.
Okay, so very shortly after your installation, I think it was the following weekend, we came back to Wetherby, to your lodge.
We had the brothers' breakfast.
That's right, the brothers' breakfast, and that was a weekend. Was that a Saturday morning
It was
or
a Saturday, and about 70 turned up for a traditional English breakfast, mainly widow sons from both Parisi and Ridings, other Freemasons, and we raised £248 for Yorkshire Air Ambulance.
Yep.
And that is part of the charity, or that's one of the charities for my year as Master of Lascelles. And when I come out of the chair, there will be a cheque presented to Yorkshire Air Ambulance from Lascelles Lodge.
Very good. Yeah, good breakfast.
It was a fantastic breakfast, yeah.
A lot of bikes in the car park. I believe some of the guys went and had a ride afterwards. I shot off home.
Yeah.
I was prepping for moving round about that time. But yeah, that was two of your functions, back to back there. So you did well.
Yes.
Shortly after that, again, a few weeks later, we all went, I don't know if you remember this, guys, we all went to Diesel's house, our treasurer, for a pizza party, because Diesel, as some of you may know...
We didn't all go because I wasn't there.
Oh, you weren't there, were you? Well, you missed out because it was a really good day. Diesel is Italian, and he has a pizza oven at the back of his house in his garden. So we all went round, and Diesel made us some genuine, sort of authentic, legitimate Italian pizzas. He made the dough, he made all the toppings, he baked some bread in the pizza oven, and we had a real good get together and ate some pizzas.
I was very jealous of that, I have to say. You were all there, I wasn't. And the reason I wasn't there, because it wasn't particularly wheelchair friendly, and I couldn't expect him to get me a disabled ramp and a hoist and do all of those things that he should have done.
You can't attend everything, can you?
Yeah, some brother he is.
Did we never tell him it were actually a flat garden? There were no wheelchair. Did we not mention that?
There was no steps or anything, was there? It was just a nice shallow slope.
I think he didn't want you. That's all it was.
But he did a good pizza and he did good bread, and we all threw a tenner into his charity bag for a loaf of bread each. I'm not sure what the total, the final total for charity was, but I think he made. So it was 60 or 70 quid. I think he made in the end on that day. So a little bit of money for charity there. Moving on, the next event, I was actually away that weekend because that was the weekend I moved. So the chapter barbecue, the summer barbecue. Now I wasn't there, so I'm going to let you fill me in on the details.
Tell us all about it, Pigpen. Were you there?
I wasn't there either. I don't know where I was, but I wasn't there.
Well, you did actually attend the ride out. You led the ride out.
That was it.
Then you rode home because of work commitments.
Yes, because I was supposed to be leading the ride on that day. And a bit last minute, I was like, sorry, guys, can't make it. I'm moving. That's the weekend we move. We've booked the removals and all the rest of it. So I couldn't do it. So nice one, Pigpen, for taking over the responsibility of the ride on that one.
We go up to Laban and...
You tell us, you rode it. I only went to the barbecue.
Yeah, sure, that's where we went. Yeah, we went up sort of Ripon and across and up and over the tops and Laban and across and then sort of back down again. I think we had a few little bits of rain. We stopped at that new cafe up at Laban.
Okay. And how was the barbie? Badger puts on a pretty good barbie, doesn't he?
Yeah, it was actually excellent. Yeah, good company. Even better that Pigpen wasn't there, so it made a very good afternoon. It was good company, good food, and made a bit for charity. So what more can we say? And hopefully we'll...
It's good for you, because it could just be all about you then, couldn't it, the day?
All eyes on Gremlin, as usual.
It's always about me. And it was, I think the sun was out. I don't think it rained at the barbecue itself. So it was nice. And hopefully we'll be having another summer barbecue next year, unless you're moving house again.
Well, Badger has volunteered to take care of it again next year. So it's turning into like an annual event that Badger is volunteering to host that one. So, and he does a great barbie. He gets all them nice German sausages in, and I mean, I wasn't there this year, but I was at the one last year. So, I shall make every effort to attend the next one.
Yeah. And apparently, Jag said that he would organise the ride out as long as it's no more than 10 miles.
Right. So, what was next? Oh, yes, I've got here that we had a ride to Connaught Court.
Yes. Now, for those of you who don't know what Connaught Court is, it is the Royal Masonic Benevolent Institute care home. And I went in there for 2 weeks respite. See, it's all about me again. I went in there for 2 weeks respite while my darling wife went to America to get away from me for 2 weeks.
2 weeks respite from you.
Yeah.
Apparently, I was hard work before my accident. Apparently, it was a lot harder work after. Anyway, so I went into Connaught Court for respite care. And I had a fantastic Sunday afternoon when the Brothers from Ridings chapter arrived. Also, several members from East Mids in passing, and I think some from Parisi, because they'd been up to a Northern Rally. So on the way down, all popped into Connaught Court. And we had tea and cake, and it was rather quite splendid.
I got to say, I overdid it on the cake. Lots of carrot cake, lots of chocolate cake. And
I know it was good, wasn't it?
Oh, it really was. And I overdid it a little bit. I made myself a bit sick. But anyway, you got to do it, haven't you?
That was the first week that I had my prosthetic leg. And I came down to meet you all. And I was sort of walking. And it was hard work, but it was great to be on two legs and to see you all turning up the noise. And it was just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
And I think the residents like seeing the bikes there, don't they, as well? Hearing all the bikes pulling up and all the masons in leathers. I think they love all that stuff.
They did, and there's photographs in the reception now at Connaught Court of that day. It was absolutely fantastic.
Oh, excellent.
Except that one old lady at reception.
Yeah, there was one lady that didn't quite like it, did she?
Really? Why? What happened? I missed that. What happened?
Well, she asked Pigpen for a date, and he said no.
Oh, Pigpen. How could you?
She wanted to be a Pigpen pal, but unfortunately, he'd already turned her down. She was too young at 87.
Okay, so next was the big event of the year, the National Rally, the Widow Sons National Rally.
Which was held at Bishop Auckland Rugby Club. There was a few of us from Ridings. I mean, I was as dry as a bone, but it chucked it because I was in my car, but it rained, didn't it?
Can you remember why I wasn't there?
It was called convenient COVID or something, wasn't it?
It was genuine, legit COVID that I came down with on I think it was the Wednesday or Thursday.
Woo! And you're riding there.
Absolute genuine. Hey, I love going to the National Rally. Don't forget, I paid for a ticket and a T-shirt. I wanted to go, but unfortunately, I contracted COVID.
For a T-shirt, you never told us. We could have got one for you.
Well, Bandit's got it. Bandit, because I gave Bandit my ticket, and Bandit picked up my T-shirt, and I haven't collected it off him yet. So he's keeping it safe for me.
Got you.
So anyway, how was the rally?
It was like a normal rally. It was raining. There was a big marquee. We had a Widow Sons lodge there with about 100 visitors, and there was normal rally food. Good company.
Tell me, how many attended? You know, given that it was the first rally since COVID.
I think there were about 300 there. Would I be right in about 300?
It was down. It was down on numbers. I think people were still cautious.
Yeah. Okay.
And there were quite a few brothers there that were asking when was the Ridecast going to be next episode to be recorded. So there you have it. It's now. It's now.
We're doing it now.
We're doing it.
Tell me, did they do like the Ard of Vale or the tug of war tournament or anything like that?
No,
didn't do anything like that. Was it just the weather was too poor again?
I think so.
Yeah, they'd been for a ride, hadn't they, on the Saturday, and I think that was a bit of a wet affair. Yeah,
because a lot of people got there Friday. We turned up Saturday morning, just in time for lunch, and then it was Widow Sons Lodge. Then there was a presentation. All the presidents. We walked into the marquee. And there were some new chapters were given their
charters.
Given their charters, yes.
Yeah.
And then it was time for dinner, and I think I had a curry. Then I went to a hotel and ate there as well. So, and then Sunday morning, it absolutely chucked it down. I remember poor House was just dreading riding home in that rain.
Luckily, it wasn't too big a distance, was it? Bishop Auckland is it's not that far away, is it? Was it 70 or 80 miles away?
Yes,
Yeah,
it was fine. It
a
was
good hour's
fine.
run, but you know what house he's like, isn't he?
It was a 3-hour run.
He doesn't like riding in the wet, does he? He doesn't like a wet run.
It'd be a 3-hour ride for House, and
Yeah.
probably by the time he got back, his bike will have disintegrated.
I was as dry as a bone again.
Okay, so moving on. Next big event was a new brother, a new widow son patched into the chapter. Welcome to Brother Elton, who was patched in. I'm not sure what the date was, but we didn't do that one at Pigpen's. Pigpen,
He was away. Were you away?
No, because he was at the patching.
I came to Kenny's.
Yeah, we did it at Alien's house, Kenny's house, at Escrick. He has a big house at Escrick, lovely garden, and he was very welcoming and said, "Yeah, bring the bikes down, use my front lawn." He's got a front lawn like a golfing green, and he even let us park the bikes on the grass for the ceremony, and we patched in Elton. So welcome to Elton.
Lovely food and coffee, wasn't it?
Okay, next up, it was the Ride to the Wall. Now, I didn't go to the Ride to the Wall, so tell me what happened there.
Jag was going to organise it, but when he found out it was more than 10 miles, he said no.
That was beginning of October. Saturday, the 1st of October, the chapter rode down to the National Memorial Arboretum for the Ride to the Wall event. I believe there was a good turnout, maybe 5,000 or 6,000 bikes. A lot of money raised for charity.
Via Tamworth again.
Oh, yeah, you went to Tamworth and hooked up with all the other chapters, did you, and rode in with them?
Yeah, got breakfast at Tamworth, met up with Grumpy.
Okay, so the last one, I think, in my list is Inky.
Inky, my mate Dave.
That's it.
So a new brother came riding out with us.
All year. He registered at the beginning of the year, didn't he?
Yeah.
He's got a fantastic taste in motorcycles. What does he ride, Pigpen?
Some black rust bucket.
Some American thing, innit?
Some of that makes a lot of noise, don't go very fast, don't handle, and yeah.
Yes, he's got a fat bob.
A fat bob, like your fat head.
Harley Davidson fat bob. Looks fantastic, and he's very happy with it. We seem to be getting more and more Harley owners.
Yeah, but they're all a bit like you, aren't they? They all get one, and then it comes for servicing, we have to buy another because it's cheaper than servicing, and then comes to MOT time, and well,
don't mention MOTs.
We throw them away when they're at MOT time because that really is a non-cost effective.
If I can drag us back onto the story, guys, we for Inky's patching. Do you want to explain why we've called him Inky for a start off?
Well,
he's got about 7,000 tattoos.
Is in my lodge is Mike, and he's on the ladder with me going round. He's on the run above me, and he used to ride bikes. He used to ride sports bikes. And his good lady wife, Diane, said, "You're not having another." It's a proper one, you know. And she said, "You're not having one of them." And he said, "Can I have a cruiser type?" And she said, "Yes." So he went down that route, and he fancied hooking up with those guys and riding his bike with his brothers. And he has put a lot of effort in this year.
He has.
He's turned up. He's been to pretty much every ride, every social, everything we've done, he's been there. And
he's got a lot of tattoos. So we've christened him Inky.
He is the painted man.
The illustrated man, yeah.
So,
also, can I just say, him and his wife Diane put on a coffee morning, didn't they, for Macmillan? And there was a bit of a ride out beforehand.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
We did. I took a ride out and thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a lovely day out for a ride, and we ended up back at Inky's house, and Diane and her their girls had put on a lovely spread of bacon, sausage, and cakes and coffee, and I think they raised about £250 again for Macmillan Cancer Charity Support. So well done. Well done.
They're going to do the same again next year.
Congrats! That was great.
Yeah, I think he's going to look at doing that every year, doing a coffee morning.
So Inky's patching was back at the Premier location.
Back at the ranch.
Back at the
ranch.
When we were expecting about 6, and I think 16 turned up.
I know. I was shocked because it was pouring down.
It was an awful weather, and it was looking grim. I kept putting it on the chat group and putting it on, you were getting the same one or two. Yeah, I'll be there. Yeah, I don't know. And then, yeah, one by one, it was like watching the animals come to the ark. They just kept turning up on bikes.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was. Yeah, it was
So that's
very
nice. That's nice. It's nice for Inky to have a good turnout.
It was, and there was a new brother there. When I say new brother, a candidate who we met at the rally, and he's been out a couple of times.
Is that Phil?
Yeah, who I think's in hospital now.
That's right. Yeah, he's had a little off. And Pigpen, well done for all the what was it, sausage and egg sarnies and tea and cake and all that. You always put on a good spread, you and Emma. So thanks
brilliant.
for that. And we managed to get home safely. Cassio came up on his bike all the way from Sheffield. He's a true hero, Cassio, isn't he?
Bandit was there. He was staying somewhere Emmerdale country, wasn't he? So he managed to escape for a couple of hours to meet us.
Frank turned up on his bike, so did Badger. Yeah. I mean, they were really braving it out there in that weather.
Yeah, and Sack turned up in his new BMW. The reason why we did the patching in the weather, in the short space of time, was because we wanted to take brother Mike up to
Scotland,
Duncarron, for the branding.
And that was the second branding they'd held this year because they were trying to catch up from the 2 years off with COVID. So they held the second branding event. So how did it go, guys? Who went?
It was fantastic. So we had Elton, Inky, Buzz. Rufio made his own way there, and Pigpen and myself went as helpers. And we met at Pigpen's at 7 o'clock in the morning and went up in the pig van all the way to Scotland. And, you know, fair play to Pigpen for driving all the way there and all the way back. He had a fantastic navigator who kept him on the straight and narrow. Didn't annoy him at all.
I'll bet. What was the weather like up there? Was it cold? I mean,
it was chucking it down before we got there. We had some pretty bad weather on the way up, but the sun came out about 2 o'clock or something, and it was actually quite a nice afternoon. It was cold. Yeah. It was a typical branding weekend weather-wise, and it was a very good occasion. So we've got 4 more ridings chapters have now been branded.
Yeah, we've covered the branding many times on the Ridecast, so the listeners will probably know what we're talking about.
We met up with quite a few, didn't we? We met Taff from ICD.
Yes, who we met down at Ace Cafe when we went down to Ace.
He was stood behind me, and he came up to me like, Pigpen. I'm like, Taff. He like, I didn't know it was you, but I thought I could tell your voice from the podcast, and I know that voice.
He's a podcast listener.
That's how he remembered me. And then,
hello, Taff. How's it going?
Yep, and Bubbles from Pilgrims. Yep, Perry Lurch sends his love to us all. Love and respect back to the Pilgrims.
Crab Fat.
Oh, yeah. Crab Fat. Bump into him from time to time. Right to the Wall, National Rally.
So he was there.
Okay, so I think that brings us up to date, doesn't it?
There have been lots of other ride-outs and meeting up at Squires. And
Strawberry Fields, usual stuff. But those are the main events that we have taken part in since our last podcast recording. Do you want to do a quick update on your recovery, Croman?
Right, my recovery is going extremely well. I have now I'm on my second prosthetic leg socket, which has caused me a bit of discomfort. I walked a mile today. So I'm working hard, swimming a mile when I go to the swimming pool. I'm doing PT, I'm doing Pilates, all the things I've got to do to recover. And I've also ordered a trike. Guess what brand it is? Guess what brand? It's a Harley-Davidson freewheeler, which, to be fair, I am only now waiting for the brake lever adjustments to be made, because apparently it has to have 2 legal ways of stopping, and I don't have use of a right leg anymore. So I am getting these brake levers on the handlebar, which will give me both front and rear brake. So once those are sorted, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, I'll be out there on 3 legs. And no, 3 wheels. Not 3.
You're having another leg fitted as well.
Pigpen keeps threatening to stroke my stump, but that's another story.
Okay, we're into segment 2. And in segment 2 this month, we are going to be talking about arch motorcycles. Now, this has come up a few times, hasn't it, guys, in previous
has.
episodes? I remember we first spoke about it back in season 1, episode 4. You know what? Remember when we did the movie episode and we were talking about Keanu Reeves back then? So Keanu Reeves, who is a prolific motorcyclist, he's a real petrol head. He's been riding bikes since he was a teenager. Has his own company, his own brand of motorcycles called Arch Motorcycles. Now, for those of you that have been living on the moon the last 20 years, Gremlin, do you want to tell everyone who Keanu Reeves is?
Famous actor, American.
That's right.
It is some of the best films ever, like Speed and Speed 2. Was he in Speed?
Yeah, he was in Speed 1. He wasn't in Speed 2. He was also in the Matrix movies. He played John Wick in the recent series of the Assassin Hitman movies. Bill and Ted, he was one of those guys, wasn't he? Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. My favourite is Point Break, where he played Johnny Utah, was he an FBI agent or something in that? Anyway, real famous actor, multi-millionaire, decided to start his own brand of motorcycle. And I've got a little bit of history here, guys. Let me just tell you how this happened. He found out about a guy in LA where he lives who customized motorcycles, and he had a Harley Davidson Dyna. That would have been a Dyna Glide, I'm guessing. And he wanted a sissy bar add-in so he could carry a passenger on the back, and he wanted some bags thrown on it as well. So he was recommended to a bike custom builder guy called Gard Hollinger, who he tracked down, went to his workshop and said, look, I've got this Dyna, I want a sissy bar and panniers fitting. And Gard was basically like, nah, I don't do that. I build bikes, I build custom bikes, I don't fit parts.
Yeah.
So he basically said, oh, well, okay, then what can you do with this Dyna Glide? And Gard Hollinger said, well, what do you want me to do? What is it you're after?
Pigpen would have said, bin it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, Keanu Reeves said, well, I want it to handle, basically. I want it to go around corners, because as anyone that rides a cruiser will tell you, they haven't got very good clearance. They're very heavy, so they struggle cornering-wise. And the tank range on them is notoriously bad. So basically, he wanted a cruiser that he could go 2 up, handled, went around corners, and had a better tank range. So Gard Hollinger rebuilt this bike. He didn't add a sissy bar. He put a single seat on it, so it was completely opposite to what Keanu Reeves had asked for. However, it handled. And when Keanu Reeves took it for a ride, he was blown away, because it was the first time he'd ridden a cruiser bike that went around corners. The engine had been tuned up, and he basically went back to Gard Hollinger and said, these bikes need to be in the world. We need to build these. So in 2011, they formed Arch Motorcycles together. They have a factory in Hawthorne, California, and they spent 3 years coming up with their first design, the first motorcycle in their range.
Which was the KRGT1.
That's right, which I believe stands for Keanu Reeves Gran Turismo.
Yep.
And that was designed by a guy called Ryan Boyd, who's an expert in computer-aided designs and graphics and engineer, and designed the bike with Gard Hollinger. And basically, the idea was, to make a big forward control American V-twin that went around corners. Okay.
Yeah.
So most of the parts that they make for these bikes are actually made in-house. Now, they have a tubular steel frame with CNC aluminium subframes. And anyone that knows anything about building motorbikes or any mechanical parts, a CNC. Do you know what a CNC is, Pigpen? The CNC milling machines?
Yeah, it stands for computer. It's computer
numerical control, I think. Numerical control. What it is, it's a giant milling machine that can be programmed by a technician. Obviously, you have to be a pretty skilled technician. And you put your slab of billet aluminium in it, and it clamps down, and you set the program running, and it mills the part perfectly to how you want it, which is much better than cast. When you cast parts, they can have voids and air bubbles, and they're not as strong as a milled machine, as a milled part. And all the parts on these bikes are milled in-house by the CNC machine, and they must cost an absolute bomb, those machines.
Yes, CNCs are very expensive.
It must be millions of dollars. But they make the swing arms, the fuel tanks, they make custom-made seats, engine covers. All the hangers are made from billet aluminium. The exhaust system is handmade in the factory. Over 200 machined billet parts. The swing arm alone, they start off with a 1,200-pound slab of billet aluminium, and it's machined down to 200 pounds. So that just gives you an idea what we're talking about. The non-arch parts, there are obviously some parts that they buy in from, from manufacturers that are the best in the field. So just to give you an idea, who do you think supply the suspensions, Pigpen?
Not the mighty Honda, is it?
Oh, it'll be Öhlins, isn't it?
Öhlins, correct. Yeah, Öhlins, best suspension in the world. The wheels come from a company called BST, which make absolutely beautiful carbon fiber wheels. The brakes come from a company called ISR. They make the calipers and discs. I've never heard of ISR, have you?
No, it must be American.
The power plant is an American engine called S&S. Now, I asked Gremlin to do a little bit of research on S&S V-twin engines. So what have you found out, Gremlin?
It's 45-degree V-twin. The churning mechanical effort of ignition is palpable, and once thumping out its idle tune, you'll immediately want to kick a gear into place and get moving. It's 2032cc. There you go.
They're built in America.
Yeah.
So they're a genuine American engine.
Yep.
Models-wise, I was quite surprised when Pigpen originally told me that they only actually make 3 models so far. But obviously they're a small factory in their infancy. So they make 3 models. The first model we just mentioned, the KR GT1, which is the cruiser. So they're they're the ones with the forward control. So they're like you're in a cruiser position. 2032cc engine, 121.7 foot-pound of torque, 122 brake horsepower. And go on, tell us how much they cost.
Well, they're bloody expensive. 90,000.
90 grand. Okay. So that's the first model. Then you can go to the sports model, which is called the 1S, which has the mid controls. Yeah. And apparently you're sat more on top of this bike in a more of a forward leaning sort of sports position. They have the single-sided swing arm. The engines are tuned up for a little bit more horsepower. They go for $128,000 for the 1S, for the sports bike. And then the really interesting one is the Method 143, which is a concept bike. They are the sort of cyberpunk looking bike. They look like something you would find in Blade Runner. They're absolutely incredible. Yeah. They actually have a larger engine. They're on a 2,343cc engine. So over 2.3 litre engine, which when you think it's a V-twin, I mean, that is incredible. So they have 151 foot-pound of torque and 170 brake horsepower out of a V-twin. Just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here, the Rocket 3 has 165 brake horsepower. So the Method has 170, so it's actually more brake horsepower from that V-twin. When you think a Rocket is a 2.5 litre triple, it's pretty impressive what they've done with the V-twin engine. They're a very powerful bike. They have... See if you understand what this means, Pigpen, because it's all Greek to me. They have a carbon fibre monocell chassis with integrated fuel cell frame. Does that mean the petrol's in the frame?
I don't really know. I'm going to say a monoframe is a single.
Yeah, which used to be monocoque for cars, didn't it? So it was a monocockpit.
Okay. They have the turbine wheels now. The turbine BST carbon fiber wheels are absolutely beautiful. You know, when you look in a jet engine of a passenger jet and you have those blades inside the engine, the wheels look like that. They're absolutely awesome. Now they take 90 days to build. The other bikes, the KR GT1 and the 1S, only take about 7 to 9 days. And a single technician builds them from start to finish. You know, like on a production line, normally you have one guy puts the engine in the frame and then passes it on to the next guy who fits the forks, who passes it on. Well, in this factory, you get one technician, starts the build and finishes the build. He goes right the way through. So I'm guessing that helps with quality control because they're going to have that sort of pride of putting the whole bike together. But that's 7 to 9 days if the parts are on the shelf. But the Method, 90-day build.
But they're only building 23 of them.
That's right. I believe they've sold all 23. All the orders for the full 23 are in. Now, I was trying to figure out why they picked 23 as a number. And the only thing I can come up with is that they're a 2.3 litre engine.
But don't you think it's very similar? Do you remember that programme, Orange County Choppers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you watch them build a bike, it's a bit like Harley. They set off with very similar sort of things. And it's like a Lego Meccano set. They just add standard things to each one.
Right.
They say it's bespoke, but I don't know. It just seems like, you're building something in 7 days.
That's off the shelf then, isn't it? If it's 7 days, all the parts are there
But it's
ready.
not though. Yeah, but that's true. However, when you buy one of these bikes, whether you buy the cruiser, the sports bike, or the Method, if you can afford the concept bike, you actually go in for a fitting when you first buy it. You go to the factory and they measure you up. They measure your arm length, your height, your inside leg, what sort of riding position is most comfortable for you. They measure the width of your backside because the seats are custom made to each customer, where the footrest hangers are placed, where the handlebars are, the risers on the handlebars, everything is custom made. So although, yeah, a lot of the parts are off the shelf, they still alter the bike to fit your dimensions, your body dimensions. So they are completely bespoke.
Right, so we put it out there. Are there any listeners who have either ridden or own an Arch? If they'd like to contact us, and perhaps we can have you on one of our episodes.
Do you think if we get in touch with Keanu Reeves, you might do an interview with us for the podcast?
Yeah, try it.
We'll send him a link to this episode and see if he's interested.
Yeah, why not?
Do you like the bikes?
I love them. I think they're all incredible looking, and the fact that they're all built, you know, from a beyond custom, isn't it? I mean, when they're measuring the dimensions of your body to make the bike for you, that's next level, isn't it? That's why they're so dear, I guess.
I think the only one that I would have, because I'm a cruiser man, would be the KRGT. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pigpen, you're a sports bike man. Would you have the other one?
Nope.
Why?
You wouldn't even have the sports version, the 1S?
Not for me. I think they're ugly, personally.
Really? I think they're awesome.
They do nothing for me at all. They just look half built, as if bits are missing. It just looks like somebody's had a couple of old bikes in garage, and they have...
You Philistine, Pigpen. Absolute Philistine. These beautiful bikes with the aluminium billet, everything. They're just lovely.
No, it just looks like somebody's got an old RGV frame and dropped in a YBPS 350 engine and stuck some GSXR forks on front and a Aprilia Melee swinging arm, single-sided on back. And yeah, it just looks like a load of...
Well, perhaps Keanu won't be coming on our next episode.
Well, you know what they say, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, isn't it?
It's each to their own, isn't it?
Each to their own.
People collaborate.
Anyone know why they're called Arch motorcycles? Anyone found anything out? Because I found one comment in one documentary I watched.
I found it difficult to find out why they were called Arch.
Yeah. The only thing I came up with is somebody said, "What? Why Arch?" And Keanu Reeves says, "Oh well, what is an arch? It's a bridge, and we're bridging the gap between bikes of yesterday and bikes of tomorrow."
Sounds a bit too arty-farty for me.
Yeah, he likes the shape. He thought it would make a good logo, I guess. So one other thing I want to mention before we wrap this little segment up. Has anyone seen the Aston Martin AMBs yet? The AMB 001s that Aston Martin have just started making.
The ones are they about 185,000 for the bike?
I think they are. Yeah, they're track bikes at the moment. They're not road legal. But if they're bringing out the track bike and people buy them, it's only a matter of time before they make a road going version, isn't it?
I've got one on order.
Oh, have you? Yeah, Aston Martin though. I mean, that's sort of on a similar line and cost of the Arch motorcycle. So maybe
I don't know why would you have one? Why?
What, an Arch?
No, an Aston Martin motorbike.
Well, why not if you've got the money? One other thing I want to mention, guys, is we had prices on the KRGT and we got a price on the 1S, but I couldn't find anywhere online a price for the Method.
Well, somebody looking around, it was somewhere saying like 100,000, and it was 80,000. But whether this was in dollars or pounds, I couldn't quite get my head around it.
Well, if the 1S is $128,000, then the Method has got to be considerably more.
Yeah, I'm going to say if they're only making 23.
Yeah, they're going to be 250,000 a piece, I bet.
The Method 143, perhaps it's 143. No, it's 143 CI, isn't it? I don't know.
Anyway, so there you have it, guys. Anything you want to add about the Arch motorcycles or Keanu Reeves' bikes?
Well, Pigpen just like to say he wouldn't want one.
He doesn't want one. Damn, I'm going to have to rethink Christmas then, aren't we?
Right. So, do you know if we go back to the thing about a mono cell chassis, a first in American production motorcycles, the carbon fiber chassis of the Method 143 integrates fuel, air management, and critical component balance in a light, rigid, and strong package.
Interesting. They're definitely, thinking outside the box with these designs. I mean, they do it using new technology and new ideas for engineering, aren't they?
I do like the look of that Method.
Yeah, the Method is awesome.
I know, but I would still have the Cruiser.
Do you know what it reminds me of? There was a movie a few years ago called Priest. It was a vampire movie with Paul Bettany. And the guy that played Judge Dredd, his name was Carl Urban. And it was called Priest, and they rode motorcycles in that, and they look just like that Method 143. I'll stick a picture on the YouTube video when I put the YouTube video together. So there you have it, Arch Motorcycles. Okay, guys, it's time to move ourselves over into
Email Corner.
Yes, we're back into Email Corner. This is the segment of the show where we read out emails from listeners and try and answer their questions. So if I can just go first, guys, I've got a few shout outs to do real quick. On Facebook, Philippe Brandau says, welcome back, brother Gremlin. Glad to hear you're well.
Hello, Philippe. I'm glad I am well.
Thanks, Philippe. And we also have a comment from our Grumpy, JP. He just put nice podcast on the last episode. So hello, Grumpy. Hope you're well. On Reddit, we have a Reddit user called Bourbon Pens. Says, thanks for the link. I will add it to my listening. So we hope you're listening, Bourbon Pens, and thanks for the comment.
Prefer bourbon biscuits, don't you?
Our Cassio sent a message to say, thanks to Gremlin for the nice words you mentioned last month about his covering your role in the previous episode. And thanks to both Yaka and Pigpen for quickly saying you're glad that Gremlin's back and that it's not Cassio again. That's not exactly what we said. We just said it was nice to have Gremlin back. We thought you did a great job, Cassio. We'll have you in as a guest very soon.
Yeah, don't call us, we'll call you. That's what they meant, Cass. Don't worry.
Oh, bring Cassio back. That's all I say.
And finally, last shout out to Paul Sorrell, one of our early listeners. Nice to hear from you, Paul. He's subscribed to the YouTube channel. So he's watching the videos on YouTube. And I suggest you all subscribe to the YouTube channel. Go check it out. Just get on YouTube, do a search for Ridecast channel, and you will find the video episodes and you can check them out. So hello, Paul. Thanks for subscribing. Right, who's got an email?
I have.
Go for it then.
Oh, you want to hear it?
Fire away.
Dear Gremlin, Pigpen and Yaka, in the interview with brother David Greenwood, he mentions that the MCF Masonic Charitable Foundation gave a donation to the Ukraine. Given that Masonry professes to be a non-political organization, wouldn't this particular donation be classed as political? Yours confused, Damien G. Well, Damien, that is a very good question. The Masonic Charitable Foundation, I think, was giving it based on a humanitarian needs basis, and probably linked up with somebody like the Red Cross or whoever it is. It doesn't go to any political organization.
Or any military organization or anything like that. It's purely for refugees and people that need help. So, yeah, yes. I don't see that as a political donation at all. What about you, Big Ben?
No, I think it was helping people in need.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what those people in need are. At the time, it was people suffering from a crisis, and that could be war, it could be famine, it could be whatever. So
well said.
I think it really for displacement, wasn't it? So so very good question.
Thanks for that one, Damien. Thanks for getting in touch.
And I hope that answers your question.
Pigpen, have you got an email for us?
Oh yeah, I've got one here. I don't want to read it.
Go on.
Hello, Ridecast boys. I was a nurse working in a trauma unit for many years and can honestly say that you rarely come across a patient with the strength and character and positivity that Gremlin displays. Well done, Gremlin. You are incredible.
Thank you.
Is it Love Tess? Oh, no, sorry, Carol.
Well, Carol, do you know what, Carol? That is really nice to hear. I think I made a few friends in the hospital because of my positivity, my eagerness to, I suppose, get well. I wasn't ill. I was just
your ego. No, it's just not eagerness, ego.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be a victim, and therefore I made it my well, it was my aim to get out as quickly as I could, and that was by being positive, by doing my exercises, and generally being alive, grateful for being alive.
Yeah. Very positive, mentally strong. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks for that, Carol.
Thank you, Carol.
Yeah.
That must have really hurt. That must have really hurt for you to read that out.
You will never know how much.
Back to you, Gremlin. Have you got another email for us?
Yes. Dear Gremlin, what's the difference between a location accident and a road traffic accident? Also, I'm curious, what are your real names? All the best, Kate. Well, let's start with the first part of the question. What's the difference between a location accident and a road traffic accident? Well, for all intents and purposes, I wasn't in a road traffic accident as such. I was stationary in a lay-by, and it's the location I was in that classes as a location accident. I just happened to be sat on my motorbike at the time, and I think that's what the difference is between a location and a road traffic accident. Also, I didn't want to class it as a motorbike accident because I wasn't riding it.
Fair enough.
Any thoughts from you two on that?
Well, that's what I kept saying to you all along, wasn't it? You hadn't had a motorcycle accident.
Yep.
It's a very minor distinction between the two. I mean, you were on the side of a road and you were on a vehicle, and I don't know. It just seems a bit odd, but I guess they have to classify it, don't they?
Yeah, I suppose technically it would have been classed as an RTC by the police, road traffic collision. I suppose that's what they branded it. But I was off the highway in a lot of respects, wasn't I? In a lay-by.
Yeah. No, I remember saying to you at the time, you hadn't had a bike accident. Nope. You could have been on a push bike. You could have been walking.
Yep.
Yeah, could have been walking a dog.
Yeah, the person left the carriageway and hit you.
Yeah.
Anyway, what are our names? Well, we'll give you our first names. So Yaka is Matt, Pigpen is Andrew, and I'm an Andrew.
Yeah, we tend to call Pigpen Andy and Gremlin Andrew.
You don't like Andy, do you?
No.
You like your big boy name.
I do.
Grown-up name.
I've never been an Andy.
If you shout Andy at him, he ignores you.
Yeah, he does. He goes, Andy? Who's Andy?
Who's Andy? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Kate.
Thanks, Kate. I'll do one now. Hold on. Dear Ridecast, following on from one of your email corner questions in Season 2, Episode 2 regarding loud pipes, I took my bike for an MOT the other week and I was forewarned that my exhaust was exceeding the legal noise level. I am aware that the law does not permit loud pipes, small number plates and iridium visors. However, I have never known anyone who has been penalised for not adhering to this. Have you or anyone you know been caught out? S&F Mark. Has anyone been caught out with any of that stuff? Visors, plates, pipes?
No, but it's an interesting point that regarding the pipes, because I think, is it Sheffield or Bradford that have introduced like radar guns, but the noise sensors, aren't they? Decibel guns.
Sonic guns, yeah, sonic cameras.
I got caught out with a pipe.
Oh, what was that on? What bike?
On a GSXR.
A Gixxer with a noisy pipe?
Yeah, but what they got me on was the technicality of it said...
not for road use.
Yeah, it didn't say on it road use.
Right, okay.
And if it's something like that, it's got to either have like an EU number, or there's a marking on the pipe that should be on there.
Yeah. I remember I had a Micron on a Fireblade many years ago, and that had a little riveted plate on it that said track use only.
Right.
Yeah.
That was quite loud.
First thing you used to do with them is take rivets out and turn it over.
A pedantic traffic officer would stop you for a small number plate, as I know a guy I know was stopped and his number plate was measured and he was told to change it. Don't know if he got a ticket. Not sure.
I remember many years ago, Pigpen, you'll probably remember this, they were a lot stricter on the visors, weren't they? Black visors, they were keen on stopping people for black visors. Nowadays, they don't seem bothered at all.
They aren't bothered about any visors, and
I was going to say, most people with a black visor were going to do a bank raid, weren't they?
Oh, yeah.
They're still like little number plates, though. They'll have you for that.
Yeah. Chase plates, they call them, don't they? Little tiny lettering.
I've just ordered my little number plate for the trike.
Oh, have you?
So I hope there's no traffic cops listening.
I've seen your plates. They're not ridiculously small. They're still very readable. You know,
yes,
not a problem.
Very readable.
So thank you for that, Mark. And okay, who's next?
I've got one. Dear Ridecast, reference the branding. Who started it? Where did the inspiration come from? And why is the patch an L shape? Does it have a Masonic meaning? And this is from Jake.
Well, I can answer the last point, and the answer is yes, because it's in the form of a square.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like a square as in a builder's square, not a square
Yeah.
square. It's a builder's square used for trying and adjusting rectangular corners of buildings.
Yeah.
Who started it and where did it come from? Well, I know that it came across from America. It was a ceremony used in America, and Widow's Sons Scotland adopted it as the chapter in our country in the UK. So it's always been a Widow's Sons Scotland thing over here, and they host it and they do an absolutely fabulous job. But it did come from America. But other than that, I couldn't give you any more history behind it. We'll have to look into that and maybe answer that question next month.
I couldn't find out who was the actual
originator
brain of it. I think it was something that they thought of, and then it grew from there.
It's been going for a good few years, at least 7, I think.
Oh, at least, yeah, at least. Okay, has anyone else got anything?
Hello, Ridecast. I have a couple of questions for Gremlin. Oh, for you. Gremlin, how long will the court case take to come to a conclusion? Have you been given any indication? Well, apparently there's a 3-year time lapse on it when they have to have it in court by 3 years. But because of the speed of my recovery and the fact that I'm quite pushy, we are wanting to have it settled by the end of the first quarter next year. So really 12 months after my accident. It goes to a joint settlement meeting when my side has barrister and solicitor and expert witnesses, and their side has a barrister, solicitor and expert witnesses. And I suppose they just thrash it out between them. And if they agree something, it's settled. If not, it then goes to a proper court case with a judge.
Right. So you think it'll probably be wrapped up by what, early summer next year?
Well, we're saying end of the first quarter, end of March. I mean, all of mine are in place now for the expert witnesses, and that's prosthetics, orthopedics. Can you believe I've got to see a brain surgeon? And there is another one which is about care.
I'm waiting for Pigpen to jump in there, but he yelled back. He bit his tongue. Well, they've got to find your brain first, haven't they?
I know.
Yeah, they can have a job.
And the final part of the question is, what modifications can be made to a motorcycle that would enable a rider with disabilities similar to Gremlins to ride? Any example? And last month's episode was inspirational. Thank you very much for that, Ben. It must have all been about me. The modifications for a disabled rider is actually very good, because the I got a magazine from them, from the disabled riders, and they give you the list of bike modifications that can be made to both left-legged amputees and right-legged amputees. So you can even have a kickstand that comes down on the other side, and that can be manually brought down by a button. Also the brake levers, but also a double lever, which is both clutch and brake on the left-hand side as well.
Right, okay.
Because obviously there'll be other amputees that may have lost an arm as well, left or right arm. So right. And I remember seeing, I was in Kendal, was it Kendal? And there was a rider came into a cafe I was in, and he had a prosthetic arm.
Right. So I guess he had some sort of a hook that hooked onto the handlebar to... Yeah,
would have been something that would have kept his hand on the handlebar. You see, the also thing people have to bear in mind is I've got no control over my right leg, and Buzz has very kindly taken the foot plate from the right-hand side of the trike that I'm getting, and he's built a sort of cage to go around it, which will keep my foot in place, because it could just bounce off, slide off. And
slide off, yeah, of course you wouldn't know, would you? Good. Okay, look forward to seeing you on that. How long is it going to be till your modifications are complete on the Harley, and when might you be out for?
I'd like to think a couple of weeks maximum now. The parts are in stock at the manufacturers of the brake levers, and it's a case of Harley just getting those in now they've finally come into stock.
You just need a lever, master cylinder, some braided hosing going down to the caliper, and banjo bolts and all that sort of stuff. Pretty straightforward.
Well, it is for somebody who knows what they're doing.
It's going to take a bit of getting used to, because it's a whole new way of riding for you, isn't it?
Yep. Come on, I'm waiting for some Saki comment now. Come on, Big Ben. You're holding back for some
He
reason.
really is holding back
You're being
tonight.
too kind tonight.
One Harley Ferguson is very much the same as another Harley Ferguson. So don't worry about it.
So who was that from? Just to give
That was from Ben. So
Ben.
thanks
Cheers,
a lot,
Ben. Thank you. Right. Pigpen, have you got another one?
Right, yep, I've got one. It says, "Hi, Ridecast guys. Just finished listening to the last episode and have a question related to the big provincial ride. What does in festival mean? It is clear that it is charity based, but why use this particular phrase?" I think the phrase itself is just what it means. Festival. It's a
fundraising period. 5 years it normally lasts for.
Right.
It's to raise, and it's really to raise money for UGLE, for United Grand Lodge of England, for them to give their big donations out, isn't it?
So the one he's talking about with the
It was a Warwickshire PGM, wasn't it, when we had that ride with him?
Because Frank also did it for the Portsmouth to Portsmouth ride. He donated his share to the festival.
It was a Mark festival, that wasn't it?
That was a Mark festival, yeah. So they happen they're a bit rarer. They're only every 35 years.
Right.
That they go into festival. But
that's a bit of niche knowledge you have there, Pigpen. You've been doing a bit of research to answer that question.
Well, no, it's because I am in Mark.
Of course you are, yeah.
We're in festival at the minute, which our festival ends in July 2023. And it'll be obviously 35 years before it comes round again. Right. Okay.
So I think North and East province of Yorkshire is going back in 24 or 25, something like that. We're going back into festival. So basically, it means fundraising festival. It's basically a short way of saying fundraising festival.
The money all heads basically to the Grand Lodge of England, and they dish it all out through the MCF to their
the Masonic Charitable Foundation. Yep.
Right.
To the big charities that they work with. So I think do they usually run on about an £8 million a year?
Is that what they donate?
Spend, I think.
Wow. Somebody once told me that Freemasonry is second only to the National Lottery in its charitable donations. So
it was the biggest. Yeah, it was the biggest until obviously the lottery took over and got as big as it's got.
Yeah.
But yeah, as an independent body, it's.
I mean, the lottery, they raise millions per week, don't they? With the amount of money people are spending on lottery tickets. So it's.
Our festival is 2028, so it'll be starting again next year.
Yeah.
Right.
You've got to remember, when you think about it, it's a bit like at the festive board when you get your raffle ticket. You're not really giving to charity as such. You're giving for the chance of winning a prize.
Yeah, you're gambling.
And the lottery is the same thing. People don't give money for no reason.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of money through the festival is donation money, not.
It's altruistic.
Yes.
People are donating money without anything coming back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Whereas, the lottery gives a lot of money, but everybody who's given is hoping to win the big money. So.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, I get you. Okay, well, that's. I think we've answered that quite succinctly there. That was a good explanation, Pigpen. Right. So, have we got any more emails to go?
I've just got one, and it says, "I think Gremlin's incredible." From Gremlin.
I've got one here. Let me read. In fact, I've got two here that I'm going to read to you real quick. These came through to the Ridecast email. And by the way, if anyone listening wants to send us a message, and we'd love to get your message, just send us an email to ridecast@hotmail.com. Dead easy to remember. Ridecast@hotmail.com. Drop us a line, and we'll read it out on the show. So I've got one here. This says, "Hello." I'm going to read this word for word now, okay? Hello, my dear. I am Barrister Charles Anthony. I am contacting you to assist retrieve his huge deposit Mr. Alexander left in the bank, $10.5 million, before it get confiscated by the bank. Please get back to me for more details. And that's from Barrister Charles Anthony. And then I've got another one here that says, I solicit your partnership in a transaction business that will benefit both of us. Detail will be disclosed to you upon response. Best regards, Mr. Justin. So thanks for that, Mr. Justin and Barrister Charles
I
Anthony.
can't believe that we are listened to in Nigeria, can you?
Many bullions in currency. Anyway, yeah.
I've got one. It says, Dear Pigpen, you mentioned joining the Royal Ark Mariners. Is this actually an LBTQ plus lodge? If not, what is it? And since we are on the subject, what has Freemasonry done or is doing to invite the LGBTQ plus community? And do you think that more should or can be done to improve here? No. Well, Royal Ark Mariners is nothing to do with
LGBTQ plus.
No, the rainbow effect pattern that they use
On the aprons and
everything is for the story of Noah and the flood and that side of
I get you.
Bible. So that's what that stands for. Is Freemasonry doing anything for LGBTQ?
Well, Gremlin's the man to answer this, because being a transgender woman, or is it transgender man? I can never get it right. Which
I don't know. I think he identifies as a cat or something, doesn't he?
Go on, fill us in, Gremlin.
Freemasonry is non-discriminatory, and its doors are open to any type of male.
I'm going to say, I think the thing with the LGBTQ community is they tend to try and not identify as something, and the trouble with Freemasonry is it does.
Yes, yeah.
You are a male and you enter the male Freemasonry, or you are female and you can enter the female Freemasonry.
Hasn't there been a directive from Grand Lodge, though, that a transitioned woman to man is allowed to join? Is that right?
Yeah.
I think they have come up with, if they have gone through it all and they are now classed as a man,
then they're a man.
Then yes, they're a man. And
Right.
I think likewise with the women's side, if somebody has been a man and they have
Transitioned to a woman.
transitioned into a woman, they are now a woman.
Yeah. But can I just say that there is posted November 2022, one of the foundations of Freemasonry is inclusivity and equality, and UGLE works hard to ensure members of all backgrounds are supported, representative, especially those that identify as LGBTQ+. One of the most commonly frequently asked questions, which we are going to explore in this post, is, can you be gay and still be a Freemason? Of course you can.
Yeah. I know a few brothers that are gay, and there's absolutely no problem. Anyway, let's not get bogged down in that. Thanks for your message. Who was that from, Pigpen?
That is from Dan.
Dan, very topical email, hot topic at the moment. So thanks for that. Please don't ask that question again. Okay, so I think we've done all the emails. Have you got anything left on yours, Gremlin?
No, apparently there aren't any Pigpen pals this month.
Well, I think that about wraps it up for this evening, doesn't it, guys?
It doesn't. For the 14th time of doing this take, I'm going to take over. If you've got any messages or emails, send them to ridecast@hotmail.com.
And check out the YouTube channel as well. Please have a look at those videos. Right, guys, I think if everyone's happy and we're all done, I am going to sign off. This is good night from Yaka for Ridecast.
And it's good night from him.
And it's good night from me.
Nice one, guys. Catch up with you next time. See you later.
See you later. See you later.